KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. It is Monday, August 28th. We've got a tropical update for you on Idalia, expected to become a hurricane here shortly and a major hurricane through its progression. Right now, winds sustain at 65 miles an hour. It continues its jog north at 8. This is a change from yesterday. It was stuck in static there as it was between the Yucatan as well as Cuba. So now it's starting to move a little bit. Convective field continues to show quite a bit of growth. Organization is expected to develop further for today, but for the time being, there's dry air to the north of the system, so you'll notice that convection is further south from the area of circulation. A lot of building in the center and in the south side of the storm, but for the north side is having a hard time wrapping around. We would hope that this dry air would stick around longer to stunt its progression, but unfortunately it is going to run into a favorable environment once it exits the Yucatan Channel. And these types of conditions are going to be extremely dangerous. We're talking very, very warm, even hot water, almost 90-degree temperature for the sea surface. And we're seeing decreased wind shear as well. So it's got a little bit of wind right now, which is also helping keep it capped right now. But as it moves to the eastern Gulf, it's got this break without wind with a lot of warm water. And that's why the situation is going to be one that we have to watch really carefully and try to warn people about as quickly as possible, because we're already seeing the impacts of Idalia's fast progression. In fact, it wasn't expected to have 65-mile-an-hour winds until tonight. And this morning, Monday morning, even last night, Sunday night, it had 60-mile-an-hour winds, now 65, and it's going to continue to build on its momentum as it breaks from this area. Right now, we're seeing wind, hurricane force wind, rain impacts as well for Cuba. Now, Cancun also has a tropical storm warning right now, but the hurricane warning is for Cuba at the time, and that's going to continue over the next couple of hours. Later on today, Idalia is expected to become a hurricane, and here is the trajectory. So very soon, and any moment now, we'll see that update come. And as it continues to pass through here, it's going to move quickly. I mean, it's going to gain a lot of speed as it moves through the eastern Gulf. And by early mornings, we're talking late Tuesday into early Wednesday, 1 o'clock, it's expected to have gained major hurricane strength, 115 miles an hour. With that intensity and the forward momentum pushing towards the north, we're talking about very dangerous impacts for the west coast of Florida. Right now, Tampa, cross-country, Big Bend area under a hurricane watch. So impact expected there within 48 hours or less. We're seeing Fort Myers under that watch for tropical storm impacts as well. This is what the European computer model has. So continuing to see the tightening of the pressure, that low deepening, and picking up a lot of that thermal convection as it moves through that warm water and really starting to become that ventilated machine that would allow for it to gain that major hurricane status. So that's a snapshot at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. That's when the European is thinking could be the time frame for a landfall there in Florida, and then continuing its progression for Georgia as well as the Carolinas. So this is going to be a system that the southeast watches very vigorously. So this storm will continue to have impacts past landfall. But right now, we want to make sure we are keeping all continental U.S. areas that are impacted informed. So that's the model that the American has for the time being. That's the latest run. Even more of an intensified forecast there. So a deeper pressure drop and deeper convection possible here. So the main impact is going to be the push of wind for this side of Florida. So Tampa northward towards the Big Bend, that's going to be the biggest threat. It's going to be the wind and what the wind does, which is going to be the storm surge. So let's talk about that right now. Forecasted to have up to 11 feet of impacts for the Big Bend. So 7 to 11 foot storm surge there. Fort Myers to Naples up to 6 feet. Key West even seeing a bit of a storm surge up to 3 feet there. But the big focal point is going to be from the Big Bend headed to Tampa and Sarasota too, up to 11 feet there. I want to highlight some of the areas that could see the strongest impacts as far as the wind and the waves piling up on top of themselves. It's going to be this area highlighted in red there. Horseshoe Beach to Sugar Mill Woods. That's going to be the spot that has the most life-threatening storm surge and wind impacts. 75-mile-an-hour gusts and in excess of that will knock trees, will knock power, will have major destructive impacts. Rain potential and flash flooding exist, especially for areas that have gravity working against them. Downsloping, topography, things of that sort will have issues when it comes to having this amount of rainfall dumped down. So for Florida as well as Georgia into the Carolinas, the forecast looking like most spots getting anywhere between 4 to 6 inches. A couple bullseye areas could get 8 inches, 9 inches, maybe upwards of 10. So this is going to be something that we have to watch really carefully. Now, we continue to watch this because the storm hasn't breached the Gulf just yet. Once it does, we'll get a better understanding as to where it's going and how fast it'll get there. I'm thinking because it doesn't have wind shear and because it's got ample fuel, that it's going to move rather fast. So just make sure you're keeping in touch with us. You can find us on social media, but also keeping up just with the forecast as frequently as you can, because we'll have these updates throughout the day and they will be changing. For now, please stay informed and please stay safe.